Be honest with yourself. How many of you tried today? If you did, good job. Readers, I haven't done a video about Warner Brothers and DC Films' upcoming movie, The Batman, ever since Ben Affleck was still attached to the project, which was over 2 years ago. No. I'm not going to link the video. You find that shit yourself. Since then, Matt Reeves beat out George Miller and Denis Villeneuve as the new director of the movie. Ben Affleck's script was completely rewritten to be unassociated with the current state of the DCEU as we know it. And Affleck himself left the DCEU, which resulted in the rumor mill regarding DC films going in a new direction after Justice League to have a lot more merit to it despite Aquaman's success and the upcoming sequel to Wonder Woman that I'm still waiting for a trailer for. But it wasn't until after Robert Pattinson was cast as Bruce Wayne / Batman that we started to get a slew of casting news for the film once it was announced that the script for the Batman was finished. And as someone who has not talked about this movie in video format for 2 years, I figured I'd take a look at all the current cast members of Matt Reeves' The Batman that have been announced and share my thoughts. So let's start with Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne / Batman. Alright. But LeRon, he was in Twilight. He's gonna make Batman look like a bitch. I don't care. More specifically, I don't care what roles Pattinson had in the past. I don't care for Twilight either, but The Lighthouse and other movies that he's been in since then have proven that he's one hell of an actor. Otherwise, Matt Reeves wouldn't have chosen him. Let me watch the movie, let me see his performance, let me decide whether or not he deserved to put on the cape and cowl from said performance. And not from any other body of work that he was previously in that whack-ass man babies only bring up as a negative because said body of work wasn't aimed toward them and because they hate seeing women having shit that makes them happy. I'm a 31-year-old man. I don't got time for this foolishness. Alright. That probably got rid of like 2/3 of this video's viewership, but that's fine. Let's continue for the non-problematic readers. Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon. I take that back now that 2/3 are gone. Honestly, when I found out this news, I was surprised yet impressed. I first found out about Jeffrey Wright when he played the villain in Sam Jackson's first Shaft movie, which I admit was not the best of first impressions. But after seeing him in the Daniel Craig Bond films and the Hunger Games series, I realized that there was definitely more to his acting skills that meets the eye. And don't worry, readers, the reason why I haven't mentioned Westworld is because I haven't seen Westworld. Like, any of it. I'm sure it's good, though. Just like Commissioner Loeb being cast as a black man in the first 2 Nolanverse Batman movies, despite him being a white man in Batman Year One, the decision to cast a black man as Jim isn't a problem with me, especially since there's nothing about the character in the comics and the overall Batman mythos that requires him to be a white guy. Believe me, I've looked. And also, from the looks of it, the hoes that are mad about it aren't really mad about Jim Gordon being black. They're mad at the possibility of Barbara Gordon, aka Batgirl, being black as a result. And said hoes that are trying to be a victim about the shit are screaming things like, but ginger representation though, and I'm just that one scene of Dave Chappelle from Chappelle's Show shoving the face of that one woman out of my way by her face. Speaking of which, Let's talk about newcomer Jamie Lawson. No, I'm not even joking about that. Like, as soon as she graduated from Juilliard, Matt Reeves called and was like, hey, you want to be in my Batman movie? Now, the only reason why I said speaking of which is because her role was unknown upon her announcement, which led people to assume that she was playing Barbara Gordon. But from reports, she's actually playing a new role exclusive to the movie named Bella, who IO9 says is, and I quote, a grassroots political candidate running for office in Gotham. Also, let's just push aside the whole they recently announced that the black guy is playing Jim Gordon, so she must be playing Barbara argument, because the basis of that take is just as tired and racist as Donald Trump. We have to take into consideration that according to Matt Reeves, while most of his rogues gallery will already exist in the time frame of the movie, the story is still going to star a fairly new and young Batman. So, considering that Robert Pattinson is in his early 30s, that this is a movie focusing on Batman becoming the world's greatest detective, and the fact that the Dick Grayson iteration of Robin was chronologically introduced before Barbara in the comics, I'm going to safely say that Jamie isn't portraying Barbara Gordon, and that the original character Bella that's been reported has more merit behind it. Now let's talk about Zoe Kravitz as Selina Kyle / Catwoman. So when I first heard the news that Catwoman was going to be in The Batman, I was immediately stoked at the idea of Selina finally being in the first installment of a Batman film franchise. Personally, I prefer to see Selina as a socialite thief like she was portrayed in Batman the Animated Series and The Dark Knight Rises, rather than however the fuck Frank Miller likes to write her. And considering that this movie is looking to take inspiration from the Jeff Loeb Tim Sale trilogy and bits of Year One, I'm hoping that might be the case. In the case of Zoe Kravitz playing her, once again, there isn't anything specific in Batman lore that requires Selina Kyle to be white. Even if you're going the route of Selina being the bastard child of Carmine Falcone, if this movie is in fact taking inspiration from the Loeb and Sale stories, that story element doesn't go away just because she's being portrayed by a person of color. Also, there has never been a bad actress that has ever portrayed Selina Kyle. Even how she was portrayed in Gotham was great, and I fucking hate Gotham. Give me socialite Selina instead of prostitute Selina. Give me bomb-ass chemistry between her and Bruce. And give me inner conflict and turmoil because of said chemistry. Basically, I want Zoe to kill it. I want her to kill it so bad, like I'm in her corner 100%. Paul Dano as the Riddler. Why he look like he's the love child of Gene Wilder, though? I mean, he looks like a Riddler, I'll give him that much. But as far as Dano himself, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna go on and press the Kiki Palmer button right quick.
I hate to say it, I hope I don't sound ridiculous. I don't know who this man is. I mean, he could be walking down the street, I wouldn't know a thing. Sorry to this man.
Colin Farrell as the Penguin. I'm not gonna lie, this announcement threw me absolutely off. And not because I feared another version of his portrayal as Bullseye from the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. I'm absolutely sure he wants to move on from that just as much as we do. No, it's because out of all the actors I could see playing Oswald Cobblepot, Colin Farrell was never on my radar. Can he do it? I am absolutely sure that he can. And considering Colin Farrell is 10 years older than Pattinson, I'm assuming that they're going to go the route of the Waynes versus the Cobblepots as far as being the most recognized family in Gotham, with Oswald being jaded with the fact that the Waynes are winning. Which isn't a bad angle to go with that at all. It's been done very well in Scott Snyder's New 52 run of Batman and in the Batman animated series. I just wasn't expecting... I just wasn't expecting Colin Farrell, guys. Andy Serkis as Alfred also threw me off. And not because Andy Serkis was cast in the movie. He's worked with Matt Reeves in 2 out of the 3 movies in the Planet of the Apes trilogy before. It was almost a given that he'd be in this movie in some capacity. Wasn't expecting him to be Alfred, though. And this is also coming off the news that he's directing Venom 2 for Sony, and that recently started production in mid-November of 2019. Which I assume means that as soon as he's done directing Venom 2, he's going to immediately start work on the Batman. Which leaves me to believe that the production on the Batman probably won't start until maybe the end of the first quarter of 2020 or so. While I'm pretty sure his talents could have been better used elsewhere in the movie, the choice of Andy Serkis as Alfred is definitely not a bad one. John Turturro as Carmine Falcone. What is happening? Now, I'm not saying that John can't do mob boss or crime syndicate head, because I am absolutely sure that he can. It just sucks that he's made such a name of himself in comedy and being an over-exaggeration thanks to the Coen brothers and Michael Bay, because it's hard for me to see it. And I know I said the opposite of Robert Pattinson, but in his defense, he's had a lot of roles since the Twilight Saga that has shown just how versatile he is. Can't really say the same thing about John! If anything, it's the roles he's played before Big Lebowski and the Transformer movies that make me feel confident that his portrayal of Falcone will be up there. But honestly, because I'm not 100% pessimistic about his casting, I'm just gonna be sitting in the let's see him in action and go from there crowd. Now, the rumor of Matthew McConaughey being eyed as Harvey Dent is about just as old as the initial announcement of Colin Farrell playing Oswald Cobblepot, and hasn't really been confirmed with any credible sources yet. So in case you were wondering why I decided to leave out the all right man out of the initial reaction bit, well, there you go. As stated before, because the movie has a release date of 2021, and probably because Andy Serkis is currently working on Venom, the movie probably won't start production or filming until the end of the first quarter of 2020 at the earliest. Which means there's plenty of time for more news and announcements for Matt Reeves as the Batman. So with that being said, readers, your homework assignment for the day. Write in the comments section below which of the currently confirmed casting choices for the Batman you're most excited about. Is it one specifically? Is it multiple? I'd love to know your thoughts. If you want to help financially support the channel, you can join my Patreon by clicking the card at the end of the video or in the link in the description down below, where you can also find a link to my merchandise store. Or if you prefer to give a one-time donation, you can find links to my PayPal and my Ko-fi account in the description box as well. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and every other Friday. But until then, this is Readus 101. Class dismissed.